Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is one special guest. Her name is Dion May, and she's a teacher specialist with Special Education Services and Learning Support. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you, Karen.
Well, you have something very special getting ready to come up for some of our students, and it's called the Transition Bus Tour,
yes,
right? Transition Bus Tour. Tell us what that is.
Okay, the Transition Bus Tour is a event for parents with students with disabilities, and the purpose of the Transition Tour Bus is to allow parents the opportunity to go around to various community agencies and to find out about resources that are available for for students with disabilities in the community.
Now, we want people to sign up for this, so when is it?
Yes, the tour bus is scheduled for May 24th. It is an all-day event, and it is from 8 o'clock until 3:30.
8 o'clock to 3:30.
Yes.
Now, where would they need to go in order to catch the bus?
Okay, they would need to report to the Croc Center between 8 and 8:30, and then the bus will leave promptly at 8:30.
Why do you think it's important to offer this type of opportunity to parents, and how could it help children?
Well, the purpose of the tour bus is to allow parents to connect with community agencies and resources, and we try to establish this tour bus in order for parents to do this, to establish the connection with agencies early on instead of waiting till after they graduate from high school. The purpose is for early referral so that they can have assistance in the areas of independent living, employment, education, and so the purpose of the tour is to provide them with the resources they need so they can make those early connections and those necessary connections.
So who's involved? Who are some of the agencies you all will be visiting?
We work with Community Services Board, Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services. We also work with Opportunity, Inc. We work with the Youth Career Center, the Independence Center. We also have links to Therapeutic Recreational Center and some other agencies such as Portco and Community Alternatives and Eggleston Services that also assist individuals with disabilities as far as in the area of employment, education, and independent living.
So for these students, what type of work would they be doing for each of these organizations?
Well, it all depends on which organization. Each time I have a tour, I have a focus. The focus of this particular tour would be to provide the students who need more support in the area of training, employment, independent living, and community participation. So this group will be looking for those individuals who would look for programs such as day supports, which would provide them with more independent living skills. They also have supported employment, which would allow them to work in a setting, but they would have someone that would supervise them on a daily basis. We also would look at those individuals that may need assistance with residential. So they'll be able to live independently, but they will have someone there that will provide that support that they may need just in case they need it.
That's very interesting. And you mentioned Eggleston Services.
Yes.
So what are the type of jobs that they could do with Eggleston Services?
With Eggleston Service, they have a business distribution center where they do more of shredding and business documentation. They also have a laundry facility which is located on Ingleside Drive, so students are able to work in that if they're interested in that particular area. But they also do have a they work on used detailing service for those students who are interested in cars and cleaning and things like that.
And that's through Eggleston Services?
And that is through Eggleston Services.
So what other organizations offer something similar to that?
We have, on this tour that I will be doing on the 24th, we will be looking at Community Alternatives, and they also provide a business document center. It's located in Virginia Beach, but they also do provide a day support program, and that is one of the things that we will be visiting, or sites we will be visiting this tour bus.
And so parents, when they go on this tour, they'll learn, okay, all the ins and outs of it. But
yes.
Is there transportation involved from Norfolk schools to these organizations, or will parents be responsible for taking their children?
Well, actually, with these particular programs, a lot of them are sponsored through the ID waiver, which is an intellectual disability waiver. So a lot of those things are the things that parents would need to established early on in order to receive the funding, which the waiver is a funding source through the state. And so once they receive that waiver funding, then transportation and all those other services will be provided in that particular waiver. So we will have someone there at the tour to provide information on that, those services.
Right. Is there a particular age range where your student or your child qualifies for to be in this program?
Actually, from 6 on up. The waiver services is a lifelong service, so it will be within, once they receive that waiver funding, they will have that for the rest of their lives. So that's why it's really important for parents to start that process early. They do have a waiting list for waiver services, so once parents do the referral process, they will be placed on a waiting list. And it is very competitive. Normally it takes more than a couple of years in order for a student to receive a waiver service. So the purpose of us having the tour bus is to provide that information to the parents early on so they can start that process much earlier.
Now, how long has Norfolk Public Schools been doing this?
8 years.
8 years.
Yes, 8 years. And each tour bus, each year we have a different focus. We've done a tour bus for parents and students for colleges. We've also done a tour bus for those students who we know will need employment but may need just a small bit of assistance, but that's something that can phase off. So we have established one of those, and then this one is for our students that need a little bit more support.
Right. So over the years, what has been the parents' reaction to this program?
Oh, they love it. They were shocked the first year because they thought that the tour bus was going to be a yellow school bus, but actually we charter a bus.
Right.
And so I've gotten some wonderful feedback about the experience and how this needs to continue on, and so that's why we've been able to do it every year.
Well, let's do a recap of the day, the date, the time, all the little details with this program.
The tour bus is scheduled for May 24th, which is Tuesday. Parents should report to the Kroc Center at 8 o'clock. Between 8 and 8:20, I would say, we would like to depart promptly at 8:30. And then once we do that, then we board the bus, and we will be touring Portco this year, which is a day support program. We have Community Alternatives, which will be a supported employment facility. We have Hope House Residential, so we'll be going to take a look at one of the residential housing, and then we will also be going to tour Therapeutic Recreational Center. At the conclusion of the tour, we'll come back to the Kroc Center, and then we will provide lunch to the participants. And while they're eating lunch, we will have a representative from Social Security who will provide information on SSI benefits.
Great.
And then after that, then we will have a transitional fair, which will be from 3 o'clock until about 4 o'clock. And parents are welcome to speak to some additional representatives from the community that will be there to provide information and answer questions.
That's a full day.
It is a full day. That's why I make sure I provide them lunch.
Exactly.
Okay.
So is there a number they can call just in case?
Yes. The number they should call would be 628-3910, and I'm at extension 21248.
Thank you, Ms. May, for coming on the show and
Thank
sharing
you.
this valuable information. I'm sure you're going to get some calls.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You are welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio, we have two special guests to talk about middle school athletics. We have the principal from Northside Middle School, Mr. Rick Fraley. Welcome.
Thank you.
And he has brought his athletic director, Emily Pollard.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Emily, we're going to start with you, and let's talk about where we are in middle school athletics. We are in the spring season, so kind of catch us up. What's going on in the spring?
Okay. Well, we just wrapped up our tennis tournament for the girls. They finished that at ODU this week. Blair was the winners in that one. And we had our field hockey championship. Northside won that one. And we have the track championships and the baseball tournament that will be upcoming. Baseball season in particular, they have had quite a few rainouts, so they're busy making up games and getting to the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the spring is a busy time. It's a challenging time because of that weather.
Yes.
But we're getting through it, so we appreciate all the good work the athletic directors are doing. All right, Mr. Fraley, you've been a coach in the middle school level, so you've seen it evolve. So talk about some of that involvement, how it has evolved over the years, and then just how positive athletics has been for the students.
Well, the evolution started with pairing athletics and academics. And so there was always the focus on how can we get kids to focus on both. And so we created the 2.0 rule, the C average rule, and then the athletics kind of came right with it. We started coming up with team sports at first, and we paired the girls and the boys with equal amount of sports, and then we've evolved to the point where we are today.
Yeah, so it definitely has evolved. You know, we used to have 8 middle schools competing, then we went to 6, and now we have ADL, and that's been a real positive position for us because it's created good scheduling. Emily, so with adding ADL, has that helped a little bit?
Yes, definitely, because it makes it more equitable, and everybody has enough competition that they can feel like they can really develop as a team. When we went down to 6, it did create some issues with scheduling and trying to make sure everybody had enough competition time.
Okay. Mr. Fraley, you mentioned that the atmosphere that it brings. So talk a little bit more about that, on just the positive things that having a student athlete involved in something during the day.
Just something as simple as we allow them to wear their jerseys on game day. Mm-hmm. And the kids' shoulders are back and their heads up and they're smiling. You see other kids talking to them in the hallway, wishing them the best of luck for the competition. We had a competition yesterday, and our girls wore their uniforms, and everybody was just acknowledging them. The teachers were. Yeah. It just brings a camaraderie.
Yeah. And you mentioned yesterday. I want to mention that you were there from the start to the finish. You were the biggest cheerleader out there too. So I know your girls appreciated you being there, and it's always good to see the administrators supporting the programs. Congratulations to Northside for that.
I appreciate that.
So Emily, let's talk a little bit about, we mentioned the 2.0 rule. So what's involved in terms of tracking the student to make sure that they're eligible?
Well, each season the kids try out for different teams. The coaches will provide a list to the athletic directors, or the athletic director will also work with the coaches too. And we review their grades. We look at their grade point average, that they're passing a certain number of classes, that they have that 2.0. In addition to that, they also are required to have their sports physical current, as well as the concussion education piece that was added a few years ago. So we monitor that everyone has all of those things. Students that maybe don't meet the requirement, we talk to them about what they can do to get back to the state where they can participate
Mm-hmm.
again.
So that's a good question. What kind of things can we do? I know as an 8th grader, if they do slip, they can't get a waiver. Is there any things that we do for the student?
Just working with them to help them to understand the whole grade point average, how it travels with them, from grade to grade and from semester to semester. And with the 8th graders, they are allowed a waiver one time, so making sure anyone that does fall below, if they decide to use a waiver, making sure they fully understand, that they choose to use it for that season, they really got to start studying and working on their grade point average for the next semester so that they can be eligible again.
Okay. And again, this is it's good for middle school athletes because we want them to go to the high school, so having that academic sound background in academics, because the high school, that 2.0 kicks in as well. So have you seen anything in terms of how student athletes respond to that from the principal's point of view?
I believe it carries them through. I mean, those that get serious about athletics are getting serious in about the 8th grade, and you see them choosing their sport and really focusing on how they're going to develop in that sport. And then when they get to high school, their coaches take them from that vantage point and push them forward with all the support they can provide.
Okay. So we're, as we mentioned, we're finishing this spring season up, but guess what? We're getting geared up for next year.
Oh, yes.
So Emily, this is a great platform to tell everybody what they need in order to be able to participate in the first practice.
The biggest thing that students and parents can do is, from this point forward, anytime after May 1st, you are eligible to get your sports physical for the next school year, and it will be good for all of next school year. If you go to the Norfolk Public Schools athletics page on the website, they will provide a list of where locations for physicals can be done at what schools and the times, and you can also get the physical form right there. So you can go ahead and take care of that from now or over the summer. There'll be a lot of opportunities to do that. You can also do the concussion training. That's online at the same website. So you can take care of that stuff before September, and that will carry them through all of next school year and have that out of the way so that first day when they show up, you know, they're able to step out on the field from the beginning.
And that's just been a challenge
Yes.
at every school, is to get that physical, to get the concussion education, but it's needed, so you know,
Every
it's
school
available.
year.
So, all right, Mr. Freley, we're going to end with you. There's something that you started this year that we want to kind of promote and talk a little bit about, and we've all voted at our meeting to have an award, what we're calling the Superintendent's Cup. And so explain a little bit about what the Superintendent's Cup is.
Well, what we decided to do was combine the boys and girls athletics for every middle school into this competition. And as we go through each sport, we rate the overall finish of each team. That qualifies them into a point system. And at the end of the year, all those points are going to be tabulated, and the winner will be the school that has the most points combined for the girls and boys athletics. And you're the person that keeps track for us. And we're really excited that we're going to be able to crown an overall athletic champion in the middle schools.
Okay, so that was kind of the gist of it, is to bring and highlight the school that has done the best overall. So that's kind of the inception of it. And I think the high schools did this 15 or 20 years ago, and it kind of went away. But I really appreciate you being in the forefront, bringing that back. And in June, at a school board meeting, we'll be able to award that. So we look forward to that.
We're excited to see who wins it.
Yeah. All right. Well, a lot of good information. I want to thank you for coming in. And again, we will see you out at the championships.
Thank you.
More
See you
NPS
there.
Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today are two special guests. We have Penelope Smelser, a Norfolk Public Health Environmental Health Specialist, and George Kahn, Norfolk Public Health Vector Control Supervisor. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you all requested to come on the show to prepare parents and students for the summer break and educate them about mosquitoes. So we're glad to have you here today. So George, first tell us, what is the Norfolk Health Department's role in mosquito control here in Norfolk?
Norfolk Health Department oversees the Vector Control Program, which is a very comprehensive program that strives to protect the citizens of Norfolk from vector-borne illnesses from mosquitoes. We have a very comprehensive program in that we not only offer education to the citizens to let them know what they can do to protect themselves, but we also are there to assist them in reducing the number of mosquitoes present, and also we offer surveillance of the entire city where we monitor the mosquito population and we can treat as needed if the numbers are too high, all in the hope of preventing diseases from being transmitted from mosquitoes to the Norfolk population.
Right. And Penelope, we've been hearing about the Zika virus in Brazil, and there's been some concerns about it migrating here to the area. What exactly is the Zika virus infection, and what type of mosquito carries that?
Sure. Zika is a viral infection, like you mentioned. It's transmitted by mosquitoes. So it can be from an infected person who gets bitten by a mosquito, and then that infected mosquito can then bite another person and infect them. So there's two species of mosquito that are associated with Zika. One is the Aedes aegypti, which you find in Brazil, South America, Central America. And then you also have Aedes albopictus, which we find here in our area. So the first one, the one in Brazil, is the main one that is spreading the disease, and then albopictus that we have here has the potential to possibly spread Zika.
Okay, George, what can we do to protect our homes and ourselves from mosquitoes, period?
The number one recommendation we have is personal protection. you're out there doing yard work, you're out there, hiking, you're out there biking, you want to protect yourself. And the best way to do that is to use a repellent. Something maybe that has DEET, a very high concentration of DEET. The concentration will vary, depends on how long you want to be outdoors.
So where do mosquitoes hang out?
Mosquitoes like to be around people. Mosquitoes, they need a blood source in order for them to lay their eggs. So mosquitoes tend to breed very close to our home, in close proximity, closer than we think. Our backyard is the #1 hotspot for mosquito breeding.
And it's because we have standing water.
Standing water is the key. Mosquitoes require standing water in order to lay their eggs. The main source for standing water, for the most part, is within our yards themselves. The large bodies of water that we see in the ponds around the area, those are not of concern as much because you have a lot of natural predator to prey on mosquitoes. It's the small pockets of water that sits in your yard, in the small containers, that's where the breeding occurs mostly.
So what can we do to prevent mosquitoes from actually breeding in our areas?
The #1 thing we can do to prevent it is actually source reduction. And source reduction is reducing the amount of standing water in close proximity to your home. If we can remove the water, then we remove the source for the mosquito to breed. Hence, you don't see a lot of mosquito biting because you don't have as many adult mosquitoes out there now.
So there's an Asian tiger mosquito that we hear about on the news, and spraying for this has been effective, right?
To a degree. So, as I mentioned before, the Asian tiger is this Aedes albopictus that has potential to spread Zika. So like George mentioned about getting rid of standing water around the home, well, those mosquitoes are the type of mosquitoes that love to breed in the flower pots, the buckets, the tarps, the things that you find in people's backyards. And they also like to bite people mainly. So when we're talking about protecting against disease, we want to prevent those mosquitoes that bite people the most, and that's the Asian tiger mosquito. So you can use the fogging trucks, the spraying, the treatments to control them to a degree, but the main thing is, and what we really like to stress, is for people to get rid of the standing water that creates the adult mosquitoes in the first place. And if you get rid of those things, then you can greatly reduce your risk of having mosquito-borne disease.
So how can we educate our students and tell them about mosquito control?
The Norfolk Health Department actually is launching a program geared at the 6 and 7-year-olds. And what we do is we're going to go into the public schools and we want to introduce the students to mosquitoes. Not only do we want to teach them about mosquitoes, but we also want to show them mosquitoes. So we have this really awesome breeding chamber here. We will take this into the schools, and at the bottom we will have actual mosquito larvae. So we present to the students all the information they need about mosquitoes, what they can do, but at the same time they can also observe the actual mosquito life cycle as it's happening right before them. This will sit in the classroom for about 2 weeks, and they can see the mosquito larvae actually transfer from larvae in the bottom, and then they will go through the life cycle, and you will have adult mosquitoes on top.
Wow, so it's a 2-week life cycle.
It is a 2 week life cycle. The mosquito life cycle completes in the summertime in about 10 to 12 days.
So if a student or parent, or adult or anyone is bit by a mosquito, what should they do?
Now, if you're being bitten by a mosquito, #1 is you want to take precaution to minimize that. And if you're being bitten by adult mosquitoes, there is a source nearby. Mosquitoes tend not to travel very far. So if you're being bitten a lot by mosquitoes, you want to, #1, protect yourself, and 2 is try to find the source for that, because if you can eliminate the source, you can reduce the number of mosquitoes that's going to bite you.
Okay, so the discomfort that you get from a mosquito bite, it's like the swelling in the area. You hear different, tales of what you should do, but what should you do medically to treat a mosquito bite?
There's not much to do. Some people have an allergic reaction to mosquito. It's a very small allergic reaction. You might see bumps appearing on your skin. For some of us, like myself, I don't have any reaction at all to mosquitoes. It tends to go away within a day or 2. So in terms of treating it medically, there's not much you need to do to treat that bump.
Okay, great. Well, help us one more time and let us know if parents at home want more information about mosquito control. Who can they contact? Is there a number or website they can go to?
So you can call us at Norfolk Vector Control. Our number is 683-2840, and we will be glad to come on out and educate you. We will actually come out and look into your yard.
Oh, wow.
To pinpoint source of mosquito breeding. It's part of our mosquito backyard inspection. and we will offer you educational material to prepare you as best as we can for this upcoming mosquito season.
That's great. Thank you for coming on the show. That's good information. I'm sure you're going to get some phone calls.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming on the show today.
It was a pleasure.
And we want you to stay tuned to NPS Now every week, and thank you for tuning in today. It airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, thank you for watching NPS Now.